We're going to do a conversation about spirituality and the body. And my name is Erica Evergreen. I am the astrological and symbological counselor here at Meeting Garden. And I am joined today by a dear friend that I'll introduce in a moment. And I wanted to just give a super brief background of why this topic. So one of the reasons is this is one of my deepest passions, the idea of how does spirituality relate to the body. For me personally, it's been quite a journey. I've had a lot of issues with really coming into my femininity and being born a female. And moving through that, I've really come into working on the power and how to bring out the power of my female body. So this is a very strong interest that I have. And we happen to be in a time right now, 2021, in which we have Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus, which is a sign of the power of the body, and Uranus being the sign of our original intent, and Saturn being form. So to me, this seemed like a very timely topic, and I have a very special partner to talk with. So let me introduce Jennifer Vargas. Jennifer is not only a very dear friend of mine, an astrological student of mine, but also a singer-songwriter, an artist, and as I said, a friend, a spiritual traveler. So welcome, Jennifer. And I just wanted to start off with maybe just giving people a sense of, I know it's really impossible to do, but just like a brief sense of who you are. Like how did you come into this conversation, your spiritual path, whatever you want to say, just by way of your own introduction.
Well, hello, everyone. And Erica, thank you so much for sharing in this conversation with me. I really appreciate the opportunity. But I think for myself, even as a young person, I was raised in Catholic Church. And so I was very connected to the sense of guardian angels and otherworldliness beyond the physical plane here. And there was something about that where I felt solace in that realm, in the spiritual realm, and where the physical realm always felt more cold and disingenuous versus the spiritual world. So I used music and Catholicism for a long time to connect to that world. I'm not a Catholic now, but I am a spiritual person, and my spirituality has evolved from the beginnings of Catholicism through a spiritual progression of just like studying chakras and understanding myself more. And so therefore I feel the more that I know myself, the more that I know God in a much grander context, not just within the context of Catholicism. So that's kind of, I hope that answers the question.
It does. I feel like one thing I want to say on a personal level is one of the reasons that I so treasure my relationship with you, something that I don't really experience a lot, is that I feel that you have this knack of really digging into your incarnation and into the spiritual layers of who you are in a way that's very creative and very, I guess I'm trying to think of a word besides iconoclastic. It's like you do it your own way, and it's very insightful, and you're so earnest about how you are moving forward and trying to realize yourself, realize your destiny. And I really appreciate that about you. One of the things that's come up with our relationship and just our conversations, and that's why we're here today, is you have really worked a lot. Like you've been called recently to work with your body. And I guess I wanted to talk more about that, and then hopefully also share some of my similar but different paths. But maybe you could say a few words about your recent experiences with why you've been basically coming into this idea that working with your body is important for your path.
Yeah, and thank you for saying all of those beautiful things, and so nice to reflect to you. But yeah, I think again, I'm always been a person that has been much more connected to the spiritual side of things. But I have recently realized, as I'm probably getting older, But I also think the universe or God, especially the planets, are in a particular alignment to bring awareness for me, to acknowledge my physical body. And what I've realized in the last few months is that I have always been very connected spiritually, doing a lot of work emotionally, spiritually, mentally, addressing things that bother me and moving on or letting go or doing the things, doing the work. But what I have recognized is that I have completely ignored my physical body, not facing the fact that I'm on this plane and I'm here for a reason. I'm tethered to this body and tethered to this realm for a reason. And that's something that I haven't paid attention to in my entire life. And I'll be 38 in March. Yay, Pisces. But what I've realized is that my body is something significant. It's a vessel, and it's a vessel to manifest, to create, to do. And in these, 38 years, of living and of not paying attention to it, what I've recognized is that my body has lost range of motion, because I haven't used it, I haven't stretched it, I haven't used it to create or to manifest for myself. And yeah, I think that's, I hope that answers the question. It's just a recognition that there's the spiritual realm that is, important to pay attention to, but the physical realm and being tethered here is just as important. I can say that I've worked through a lot of the traumas emotionally and spiritually, but those traumas, I feel they're still inside my physical body, maybe even embedded in my joints that have lost range of motion. It's almost like my joints are holding on to the traumas and the pain, and I just haven't processed it physically. And I think for me as an individual, it's just hard to be here, tethered to this body and to this existence. But without it, I'm not able to, complete the task that I believe that I chose to come here, which is honestly to be an artist and to create.
When I'm listening to you telling your story, one of the things that I resonate with very much is that notion of manifesting through my body, through our bodies. Because I know from my own experience, and I'm 50, and so, I've been definitely dealing with this issue for a long, long time, that my body is absolutely necessary for me to be able to manifest the current, what's coming down through me. And I believe that I'm here to do just that. So for me, my struggle has been around accepting, first of all, just being female, because in my family, there was just a lot of negativity around the feminine and being female. And I don't think it was conscious. It was something that it was just inherited from, centuries and millennia of sort of hatred of the feminine. And it wasn't, my parents were actually very into being positive. They really tried. But somehow it was still carried on that, just like you, I resonate to that part of your story as well. Like you, I felt like, okay, spirituality, that's where it's at. And for me, it was about being free. Like somehow I had this idea that being free of my body was the way. And there was a lot also of issues that I was running away from in my body. So once I kind of came back to accepting myself, just accepting physically who I am, and then working with that, I have really gotten fascinated by what I perceive to be the power of the female body in particular. It's the only kind of house. I can't really, I can't have any experience of another one this time around. And for me, the issue of my sexual energy necessarily comes up because I have found that for me, a lot of my path has been really directing, I guess directing is the word. I want to say restricting, but like focusing my sexual energy on my spirituality. So although sometimes I've been in a relationship like I am right now, and for a long time I was celibate, I am very much about moving like my sexual energy upward and sort of really communing with that God principle, inside of me, that divine principle. And for me, learning about how my body moves energy and how I bring out something, which I believe has to do with the age of Aquarius, that's really where I'm coming from. So I just wanted to kind of share some of the things that resonate with you. And I feel very much like aligned with you. I know we're different. We have different paths in life and different life stories and different sun signs. I'm an Aquarius, but I really relate to when you say manifesting through your body. And maybe you can, I don't know, maybe since I know you've been doing some artwork and doing some music again, have you been playing specifically with manifesting your creative work, like your music, through working with your body in some way? If the answer is no, that's okay. But I was just curious if that's been part of what you've been up to.
Thank you for sharing what you just shared. That was really cool. I haven't like painted my body and like rolled around naked like a tarp yet. I'm not saying that's like out of the question. But for me, honestly, I have been painting more. I have been creating more. I write music, so I've been singing a lot, which is why my voice is a little husky today. Just practicing, but also writing again. So in those things, yes, I've been kind of using my body to create. But for me, honestly, the connection with my body is more about moving trauma, acknowledging the trauma that's in my body, and and becoming conscious of it, becoming unified with my body, even though I am, right, technically, but I haven't chosen to be very consciously in my body and using it to manifest. I mean, I'm 38, I have a successful career, and I've manifested these things in my life, but they're all these unconscious things. So to be honest with you, for me, right now where I'm at with my body is that it's a really just kind of a very basic caring for my body. It's a really just coming into my body and exploring it, as to where, you were talking about directing like your sexual energy upward and that kind of stuff. I feel like that's maybe because you've already been in your body and exploring more in your body and being conscious to that. For me, it's like I'm just getting started. So it's really just like about physically, like eating in a way like that. I pay attention to my body that I know like makes me feel good. When I eat something that doesn't work, it's like, oh, stay away from that. Just simple things that I really have never done for myself. And as a result of not doing those things, I really have just abused my body. It's been abused by others and I've abused it. So it's really just an acknowledgement that there is trauma trapped inside of my body, and that my choosing to become conscious of it, including like, my guts, if my guts feel swollen, that's an acknowledgement of trauma that I've caused to it. And so what am I going to choose in this moment to heal it, to be in this body, to make it feel strong and healthy, to want to go out and create? I think I've always been a person that creates all the time, but not outwardly. That hasn't been outward directed. So for me, it's really just playing with my body, like having fun with it, spending time. I exercise today, which is not something that I normally do because, there's always been that question, since I'm so more connected to the spiritual realm, that's like, why should I have to take care of my body? Like, why this thing? Like, why does it have to go to the bathroom and do weird things? Like, why? But there's a reason why, and it's because it's tethered to my mind and to my soul and to my spirit. And what I experience spiritually, I'm also experiencing physically. That's what I feel. And so if I don't do the work to move through the stress and the traumas physically, which is literally just exercising and eating well, then, there's a disconnect for me. I don't know what it is for others, but I wanted to say too, just speaking to the sensuality piece of it too, I think that there is a big part of me that hasn't been unlocked. I'm a very sensual and sexual person, but I haven't really explored that because I haven't been connected to my body. So where you are like upward directed, I'm like, bring it on physically, you know? And I honestly, I feel so happy to be in that place, because I think a lot of my unwilling to connect with my body was associated to a lot of feelings of like shame and guilt, that I was, working on and processing in my mind, and, doing study guides and looking at planets and seeing how this is affecting me. And rather than just actually like working out or doing something to make a change physically, or eating in a way that raises my vibrational frequency, it makes a difference.
As I'm listening to you, it's like coming to me, one of the sort of convictions that I have, or the things that I've come into knowing, kind of just intuitively as you're talking, it's like, it really brings it out for me, this knowledge that our physical world is the same thing as our spiritual world. So it's like, as I guess for me, like my experience is that, like, if I'm connected to my body, or when I'm connected, since I've become connected, and again, that was kind of late in life for me too. Like it was probably even older than you are now, but I really started it, so it's plenty of time. But I feel like the physical world for me isn't separate from the spiritual. So it's like, even you, like, let's just give this as an example. Like you and I met probably, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago or something. It wasn't that long ago, but it was very clear to me that, like, you entering my life as a friend was a direct manifestation of spiritual work that I had done on my own femininity. So it's like, you're almost like in a sense of physical, but not just physical, but but your physical showing up in my life and becoming part of my life is like an affirmation. It's like a synchronicity that I am engaging in a certain way. And you're like a flowering of my own spiritual life. And I find that to be like a true thing in general, that that in my physical world, in the physical manifestations, whether they be of illness or whether they be of positive, things that I like for like you becoming my friend, they're all messages. So it's like all like a manifestation or a synchronicity of the state of my mind, just like my dreams are. So it's like almost like my physical world is like my dream world. It's the same thing. It's showing me, giving me feedback to where I am spiritually. So that's like, when you're talking, it's like that continuity. It's not just like there's like 3/4 of us and then we cut it off and then that's it. We're no longer, the rest of who cares about the material? And, I can have, like, same with you. Like I could just, I don't know, like try to, like in my case, I think my bad go-to place is like, trying to maybe over manage things and just be like domineering and just, control my life and make it whatever I think it should be in my head, as opposed to being more receptive and really manifesting something that I don't necessarily know about intellectually. So I don't know, I guess that's just that idea of the material as an outward showing of the spiritual. So they're not like somewhat less like two sides of one coin. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't have a neat wrap up, but does that trigger anything for you?
I love what you said, and I absolutely agree that it's not surprising, but it is fascinating, I would say, and maybe moving is more accurate, when you talk about your experience of meeting me and what that means for you symbolically in the physical realm, but also spiritual. I think for me, obviously, meeting you was a very profound experience for myself. And it also came at the precipice of my really acknowledging my physical body and the need for its healing. And that was right at the beginning of that process. And that was how I met you. So, like I said, I don't think it's a quinkydink, but I think that it's fascinating and it's beautiful. And I feel like not only did I meet you at a point in my life where I've made the decision, a conscious acknowledgement of my physical body, to be tethered to this body, even though I already am, but to accept it basically, and to heal it and do the things that I need to for my physical body to show up in this world, in a way that helps me manifest my original intent. That you had that experience about me. I have that experience for you because I'm such a loner. I'm such an introvert, but yet I long to have deep, meaningful relationships and conversation with someone, and I have found that in you, and I feel like that's very rare. But I'm not surprised that it came in unison, in harmony with my choosing to start caring for myself. That I have the honor of talking to you and being a part of your life. So, yeah.
I'm trying to decide, like, another thing that pops into my mind, and I don't think it's a coincidence either, is that like this whole period of time for me of getting to know you has also coincided with a form of healing. I mean, again, I've been doing this work a long time and stuff, but it happens to coincide with the time of my mother's passing away. And also, like, I had this really strange, like, physical wound on my body that's healed in the process of knowing you, and sort of like integrating my mother's existence in my life, because it was a very mixed type of existence for me, like a mixed relationship of positive and negative with her. I mean, not you. For you, with you, it's been like honestly all positive. I'm just going to be very clear about that. But I just want to, that's why I think it's. I think for me, the healing was more emotional than physical, but I actually physically was healing a wound. Like I had this weird skin wound above my heart that did not heal for, like, I'm serious, like 2.5 years. Like I had this weird, like, and then like I remember going to a dermatologist and she was just like, oh my God, like we got to get this checked out for cancer, like now, because she was just like, what the hell is this thing? And it wasn't cancer. And I was pretty much like, okay, I know within my heart that like this is a manifestation. I mean, so I think everything is true on both levels. Things have a cause on the physical level, and they also have a symbolic meaning. In this case, I think the symbolic was like the heavy aspect of what was going on for me in that. And I actually did just heal it up, like, within the last few months and stuff. And my mother died within the last few months. She died in March. Now, I feel like I knew when I met you that there was some type of like me coming into better relationship with the feminine, because my mom was somebody who was just very overbearing and very controlling throughout my life. Although I think she loved me, I was like, I think she really meant well, but she just had a lot of her own personality that didn't mesh. It meshed with mine in such a way that I was a wuss, and I had to kind of learn how to not be a wuss. And eventually we had a good relationship. I'm just kind of like summarizing, like, 50 years of history here in 3 seconds. But I feel like that bad relationship with my mother also was part of the reason why I was having a very hard time just being my own woman, and just becoming strong in myself as a separate entity, because my mother was just so like into enveloping me into her life as part of her and seeing me as part of her. And so for me it's just funny that this whole period of time with you coincides with me really honestly just embracing my own power, my own independence. I mean, obviously, again, it's all kind of relative. It's not like I just left my mom's house or something. And my mother was like 88 years old, so I was really kind of caring for her, more than the other way around for the last 10 years. But still, there's that lingering issue. So I feel like there's so many aspects of it, because there's, like, you've mentioned about like the physical trauma aspect. For me, it was very much psychological wounding and trauma. That also impeded me from like getting into my body and recognizing my beauty as an individual. And I don't mean like physically, I just mean like the beauty of my individual incarnation and why it really matters that I be truly of myself and control like my own world, like give myself what I need, nurture myself psychologically, physically, and be okay with, who I am and like my limitations and what I'll never be and what I am to be, and so I don't know, this isn't very coherent, but it's very much about dealing with like healing that relationship with my mother, kind of like becoming, she wasn't a great nurturer. So me kind of learning to nurture myself coincided with, or really that crowning moment of me doing that coincided with having you in my life. So I think you coming in was like almost showing me that I'm on the right track. And then that wound did heal, above the wound above my heart. So I feel like it's about like my heart and my love, my self-love, that I also manifest through loving you as my dear friend, and someone that I just treasure, because it's not, like you say, it's not common to meet somebody, especially at my age. It's just not common to make a friend, and it makes a friend like you that I find so deeply moving and so profound and inspirational is such a beautiful flowering, again, a spiritual flowering for me. So I just wanted to bring in the mother piece of it, because for me that was a definite, being wounded in that mother part of me was definitely hard, very hard thing I've had to kind of cope with. And I think I'm actually there. I think I'm actually like making a breakthrough on that. So, thank you for being part of that journey.
Oh gosh, Erica, keep going. No, I appreciate you saying all of that. And I didn't know about the wound above your heart. That it's a really, I mean, I'm learning a lot about like recognizing symbolic language, all around us. And man, boy, is that an obvious symbolic manifestation, I think. I don't know.
I do too.
But I think that's really cool, and I'm glad that you healed it. And I think that you're a wonderful, beautiful person.
Thank you. And I feel the very same way about you. I'm so happy to know you. I'm so grateful. Do you have other thoughts that you want to bring in to this conversation? Any final thoughts or last thoughts that you want to bring in?
No, just wanted to say, thank you again for the opportunity. And my process on working on my physical body is really right now just exercise and eating in a way that just feels good to me, and exploring my body on the physical level, not always needing to go spiritual, even though obviously those are very connected for other people. Not so much for me, but I'm working on that connection. The spiritual is always right there at the forefront, but I'm trying to play and have fun in my body. And I'm trying to manifest a world around me that reflects my spiritual world as well. So right now, those things are not one and the same. So symbolic representation of that is happening here. So.
Well, I really feel like the work that you're doing and the work that I'm doing, and I think a lot of, especially women, but people in general are doing, I think men too, actually, on really kind of recognizing how precious and how truly spiritual the physical is, and that form isn't just this thing you can cast aside because really it's this, Christ principle or whatever inside of us, but rather it is that, but it's also how we are specifically, how we are different from everybody else in our specific form. I honestly believe that by honoring that right now, we are truly changing the world. Like, we're truly changing the way that things are coming to be in the world. And I think it's the time to do that. I honestly believe that the age of Aquarius has a lot to do with Saturn and form and Uranus, that getting that divine will paired up and really married in a harmonious way to our physical. So I just want to, thank you so much for this conversation, because I can't think of anybody by far that I would rather have it with. And it is a passion for me, and it is exciting. And I do believe that radical, amazing, like critical change happens even if nobody knows about who we are, even if we're like totally sitting in a room alone, but we're doing this work. It matters. It changes everything from the inside out. So thank you so much, Jennifer. I love you. Thank you so much for talking with me about this beautiful topic, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you, Erica. You too. I love you too. And it's an honor to be learning astrology from you, because you are amazing.